She's dead. Wrapped in plastic.
Those 5 words changed television forever. On April 8th, 1990, 34.6 million Americans tuned in to watch the pilot of Twin Peaks. That's roughly a third of everyone watching TV that night. And within weeks, this strange little show about a murdered homecoming queen became the most talked about series in America. David Lynch and Mark Frost created something nobody had ever seen before. They took soap opera, surrealist horror, and detective fiction, then smashed them all together in ways network television had never even attempted. But here's the thing. The story behind the cameras, almost as strange as anything happening in the fictional town itself. We're talking accidental casting that created TV's most terrifying villain. Network executives who basically destroyed their own hit show, and a 20-minute composing session that produced one of the most iconic themes ever written. So today, we're counting down 15 of the weirdest facts about the original Twin Peaks. Some of these will change how you see the show. Others might just make you want to rewatch the whole thing. If you love deep dives into classic TV, hit subscribe and drop a like. Now, let's head into the woods. Fact 15. The show was almost called North Dakota. So before it became Twin Peaks, this show had a completely different name. Lynch and Frost originally called it North Dakota. Yeah, North Dakota. Doesn't exactly have the same ring to it, does it? They eventually moved the setting to the Pacific Northwest because Lynch wanted those forests and mountains. The title changed to Northwest Passage. But then, they hit a snag. Turns out there was already a real town called Northwest Passage. They needed something new. Twin Peaks emerged as the final choice, named after the fictional mountain overlooking the town. In real life, Mount C in Washington became that iconic peak you see throughout the series. It's funny how the small decisions end up mattering so much. Twin Peaks sounds mysterious. North Dakota sounds like a farming documentary. Fact 14. ABC made them inflate the town's population by 10 times.
Who are you?
My name is Mike.
Number 14 takes us to that welcome sign at the edge of town, and it involves some creative math. You know that famous sign showing the population as 51,201? That number always seemed weirdly high for a small lumber town, right? Well, there's a reason. Lynch and Frost originally wanted the population at just 5,120. A small, intimate community where everybody knows everybody's secrets. But ABC had a problem with that. The network had this bias against rural-themed shows. They worried audiences wouldn't connect with a town that small. So the creators inflated the number by a factor of 10. A tie-in book later joked that it was a typo. But really? Network interference from day one. And trust me, that interference only got worse. Fact 13. Kyle MacLachlan actually hated cherry pie.
Massive quantities and a glass of water, sweetheart. My socks are on fire.
Number 13 is going to ruin a certain iconic scene for you, or maybe make it even funnier. Agent Cooper's obsession with cherry pie at the Double R Diner became one of the show's most memorable bits. That line about it being where pies go when they die? Classic Cooper. Here's the twist. Kyle MacLachlan and Laura Flynn Boyle, who played Cooper and Donna, both reportedly hated cherry pie in real life. Every time you see MacLachlan savoring that pie with pure bliss on his face, acting. That's commitment right there. Makes those scenes retroactively hilarious when you imagine him internally gagging while talking about how incredible it tastes. Fact 12. The pilot script was written in just 9 days.
Federal Bureau of Investigation, Special Agent Dale Cooper.
Number 12 is about how quickly this whole thing came together. Lynch and Frost pitched their idea to ABC in a meeting that lasted about 10 minutes. They got the green light for a pilot. And here's where it gets impressive. They wrote that entire 2-hour pilot script in just 9 days. 9 days. The foundation for one of the most influential TV series ever made. The town, the characters, the central mystery, the tone that would change what dramas could be. All of it conceived and written in about a week and a half. For context, some pilots take months to develop. Lynch and Frost channeled their entire vision onto the page in the time it takes most people to finish a Netflix binge. 11. A Prisoner's Number is a hidden Les Misérables reference.
You've got to be kidding me.
Reference number 11 is a fun Easter egg you probably missed, unless you're a literature nerd. Hank Jennings, the parolee married to Norma who owns the Double R, had a prison number. 24601. That's not random. It's the exact same number assigned to Jean Valjean in Les Misérables. Lynch and Frost packed the show with references like this. Dale Cooper's name came from D.B. Cooper, the hijacker who parachuted out of an airplane in the Pacific Northwest and was never found. Laura Palmer was a nod to the 1944 film noir called Laura. The show rewarded people who paid attention. That's part of why fans are still analyzing it decades later. Fact 10. The Log Lady was a 15-year-old idea from Eraserhead. Number 10 goes all the way back to the 70s. We're talking about the making of Eraserhead. The Log Lady became one of Twin Peaks' most beloved characters. A woman carrying a log that apparently communicates with her and knows the town's secrets. Classic Lynch weirdness. But here's the thing. Lynch first had this idea while making Eraserhead in the mid-70s. Catherine Coulson was working as assistant director on that film. Lynch told her he envisioned her carrying a large log. He even had plans for a whole series called I'll Test My Log with Every Branch of Knowledge, where a woman would take her log to various experts. That project never happened, but the idea stayed with Lynch for years. When they were filming the Twin Peaks pilot, Lynch called Coulson and asked if she was ready to do what he called the Log Girl. She reportedly said she didn't think the character was a log girl anymore. Get this. The Log Lady wasn't originally planned as a recurring character. She was an unscripted addition to the pilot, from a 15-year-old idea to one of TV's most memorable eccentrics. Fact 9. Wrapped in Plastic was improvised on set.
She's dead. Wrapped in plastic.
Number 9 involves one of the most famous lines in the entire series, and it wasn't in the script. The pilot opens with Pete Martell discovering Laura's body on the riverbank. He delivers that iconic line. She's dead, wrapped in plastic. It sets the tone for everything that follows. That line was improvised. Lynch gave Jack Nance the words right there on set while cameras were rolling. Nance had worked with Lynch for years, going back to Eraserhead and Blue Velvet. That creative shorthand between them allowed for spontaneous moments that ended up defining the show. Sometimes the best dialogue comes from trusting your actors. Fact 8. Sheryl Lee was only hired to play a corpse. Number 8 is honestly one of the most remarkable casting stories in television history. When Lynch cast the pilot, he hired a local Seattle actress named Sheryl Lee to play Laura Palmer. Her job was simple. Be a dead body. Lie still. Look beautiful. Let the camera capture her lifeless face, wrapped in plastic. But Lynch also shot home movie footage showing Laura when she was alive. James filming Laura and Donna at a picnic. The moment Lynch saw Sheryl Lee actually performing, actually acting, he realized she was extraordinary. The problem? Laura Palmer was dead. The whole premise centered on her murder. How do you keep a talented actress when her character is already a corpse? Lynch's solution was pure creativity. He invented a new character, Maddie Ferguson, Laura Palmer's cousin who comes to town after the death. Sheryl Lee would play both roles. Even the name was deliberate. Maddie Ferguson. That's a Vertigo reference. Madeline Elster and Scotty Ferguson combined. An actress hired to play a corpse became one of the show's most important performers. Fact 7. Multiple killer scenes were filmed to prevent leaks. When it came time to reveal Laura's killer, the production team knew they had a problem. This was the most anticipated reveal in TV at that point. The whole country wanted to know. Leaks could ruin everything. So they filmed multiple versions. Versions with just Leland Palmer. Versions with just Bob. Versions with Ben Horne as the killer. Multiple actors performed as if they were guilty, so even people on set wouldn't know the truth. Ray Wise, who played Leland, only found out he was actually the killer right before getting the script for that episode. Lynch told him privately, "It was you. It was always you." Imagine carrying that secret while working on set, knowing your character was about to take the darkest possible turn. The secrecy worked. When the episode aired on November 10th, 1990, it genuinely shocked audiences. Over 17 million people watched. Fact 6. The Red Room dialogue was recorded and reversed twice.
Almost like that. You do it wash or farmer.
The Red Room sequences are disturbing in a way that's hard to explain. Part of it is visual, the red curtains, the zigzag floor. But a huge part is how the man from another place speaks. Michael J. Anderson's dialogue sounds almost human, but not quite. Here's how they did it. Anderson would speak his lines into a recorder. The production team played that recording backward. Anderson then learned to mimic the reversed speech, performing the backward version. Finally, that performance got reversed again in editing. The result is speech that technically moves forward but carries the rhythm of reversed audio. Uncanny. Deeply uncomfortable. Exactly what Lynch wanted. Here's the really weird part. Anderson had used phonetic reversal as a secret language with his childhood friends years before Twin Peaks. He already had experience speaking this way. Sometimes the right actor finds the right part in the strangest ways. Fact 5. The iconic theme was composed in 20 minutes. Number 5 is about Angelo Badalamenti's iconic score. The Twin Peaks theme is one of the most recognizable pieces of TV music ever written. That slow, dreamy opening that perfectly captures beauty and dread at the same time. The soundtrack went gold in 25 countries. Badalamenti won a Grammy. That theme was composed in about 20 minutes. Badalamenti was at his Manhattan studio with Lynch. Lynch performed this guided meditation, describing the emotional content he wanted. A very lonely girl named Laura Palmer. The sadness surrounding her. As Badalamenti played, Lynch kept saying, "Go slower. Slower is more beautiful." By the end of that session, the theme was basically done. Badalamenti offered to rearrange it. Lynch refused. Don't change a single note. And he could see Twin Peaks when he heard it. 20 minutes for music that would define a generation of television. Fact 4. The Red Room only exists because of a contract loophole. When ABC ordered the pilot, there was a real chance the network wouldn't pick up the series. To hedge their bets, the pilot was designed to also work as a standalone movie for European distribution. But standalone movies need endings. The regular pilot ends on cliffhangers. So Lynch shot additional footage, providing closure for the European version. This additional footage is where the Red Room dream comes from. Cooper's vision of the curtained room. The man from another place. Laura whispering the killer's identity. All shot to give European audiences some kind of resolution. When ABC picked up the series, that footage got absorbed into the mythology instead. The Red Room became central to the supernatural elements. The Black Lodge, the whole cosmology. One of television's most iconic images exists because of an insurance policy for foreign markets. The Red Room was basically a contractual obligation that became the heart of the show. Fact 3. Laura's 25 years line accidentally predicted the revival.
Daunim Suriva Itnot Nenega Uisla.
Number 3 involves dialogue that accidentally predicted the future. In that Red Room sequence, Laura tells Cooper she'll see him again in 25 years. At the time, just strange dreamlike dialogue, typical Lynch weirdness. Then, almost exactly 25 years later, Twin Peaks returned. The revival premiered on Showtime on May 21st, 2017. Lynch and Frost had started meeting secretly around 2012, partly because they realized Laura's line was approaching its real-world anniversary. The show could literally fulfill its own prophecy. When they wrote that line back around 1989 or 1990, they had no idea there'd ever be a third season. Television revivals weren't really a thing back then. Returning to these characters decades later would have seemed absurd, but Laura told us exactly when she'd be back, and she kept her word. Fact 2. TV's scariest villain was actually a set dresser. Number 2 might be the greatest happy accident in television history. Frank Silva played Bob, the demonic entity terrorizing Twin Peaks. Bob consistently ranks among TV's most terrifying villains. That long gray hair, those denim clothes, that predatory smile. A nightmare you can't wake from. Frank Silva was not an actor. He was a set dresser. Silva had worked crew on several Lynch projects. Dune, Blue Velvet, Wild at Heart. During filming of the pilot, he was moving furniture in Laura's bedroom when Lynch overheard someone warning him not to block himself behind the dresser. Lynch was struck by the image. He asked if Silva had done any acting. Silva said he had. Lynch filmed him crouching at the foot of Laura's bed. Just an experiment. Later that day, while filming Grace Zabriskie's scene as Sarah Palmer having a terrifying vision, the camera operator told Lynch a shot was ruined. Frank was reflected in the mirror. An accident. Someone walked into frame. Lynch called it a happy accident. He used both shots. He built an entire mythology around this set dresser who stumbled into a mirror reflection. Silva became the face of evil on Twin Peaks. Bob elevated the show from quirky mystery to genuine horror, all because someone was in the wrong place at the right time. Silva passed away in September 1995 at just 44. His accidental creation remains one of TV's most unforgettable monsters. Fact 1. The network forced Lynch to reveal the killer, then admitted he was right.
How's Annie? How's Annie? How's Annie?
The most important and tragic fact about the original Twin Peaks. David Lynch never wanted to reveal who killed Laura Palmer. He saw the murder as a MacGuffin, a device to drive the plot while exploring other things. The town, the characters, the darkness beneath small-town America. He imagined the mystery stretching the entire run. Maybe, he said, they'd reveal the killer in the final episode. Maybe. ABC had other ideas. Network executives, under pressure from impatient audiences, pushed for resolution. Bob Iger, who championed Twin Peaks at ABC, believed viewers needed closure sooner. Mark Frost was more pragmatic. He felt they owed audiences some resolution, but Lynch remained opposed. This became a real tension between the creators. ABC won. The killer was revealed in episode 14 of season 2. November 10th, 1990. The episode itself was brilliant. Lynch directed it. Ray Wise delivered one of television's most devastating performances. But after that, Lynch said the second season became stupid and goofy and ridiculous. He stopped watching his own show. The mystery engine was gone. the replacement storylines couldn't capture what made the show special. Ratings collapsed. ABC moved Twin Peaks to Saturday nights. By the finale on June 10th, 1991, only about 7 million people were watching. Here's the twist ending. Years later, Bob Iger wrote a memoir. He admitted that after the mystery was solved, the storytelling became a mess. No engine propelling the story forward. Then Iger wrote something remarkable. He admitted David Lynch might have been right all along. The executive who pushed for the reveal eventually came around to the director's vision. By then, it was too late. Twin Peaks was canceled. The damage was done. It remains one of TV's great what-ifs. What would Twin Peaks have become if Lynch kept his secret? Conclusion. And there you have it. 15 weird facts about Twin Peaks that showed just how strange the making of this show really was. A set dresser accidentally became TV's scariest villain. A 20-minute jam session produced an iconic theme. An actress hired to play a corpse became one of the most important performers. A throwaway line predicted a reunion 25 years in the future. Twin Peaks was lightning in a bottle. Creative decisions, happy accidents, and network interference somehow combined to create something entirely new. The show changed what TV could be. Showrunners still cite it as a primary influence. That blend of soap opera and surrealism. That commitment to atmosphere over easy answers. That willingness to be genuinely strange. It started here, in a fictional lumber town near the Canadian border. Lynch passed away in January 2025. Mark Frost has said it's hard to imagine continuing without him. The owls may not be what they seem, but this much is certain. Twin Peaks is complete, but the show endures. New audiences keep discovering it. That homecoming queen wrapped in plastic still haunts us 35 years later. If you made it this far, you're clearly a fan. Subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive. Drop a comment with your favorite weird Twin Peaks fact, or tell us if we missed one. Until next time.